I'm going to take you through the exact setup that I use when targeting big walleyes with tip-ups in the wintertime. It even works for big pike as well. So stay tuned. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to take you through some of the materials that you need. 40-pound Power Pro, it's a good braided line. That's going to be your main line. Or you can go ahead and use a cheaper branded braided line. Also going to be using 10-pound fluorocarbon. That's in Vizex, high-quality fluorocarbon. Got a VMC number 10 treble hook. We're also going to be using a standard barrel swivel. That's a 40-pound barrel swivel. And an 1/8 ounce split shot. First off, what you're going to do is you're going to measure out 40 to 50 yards of braided line. No more, no less. Otherwise, the fish end up taking out way more line or don't have enough line to properly eat the bait when you get a flag. First thing I'm going to do there is I'm going to thread that end of the braided line through the eye of the tip-up. Then I'm going to go ahead and actually tie 4 overhand knots, securing the line to the spool of the tip-up. You can use any type of knot you would like. You just want to make sure that that line's nice and secure. Because it's heavier, thicker braided line, I like the overhand knots. 4 overhand knots is pretty durable, and it's real easy to tie. So I've got the 4 overhand knots tied on the spool nice and tight. Trim the tag end off. And now I'm going to wind the line onto the tip up in a clockwise fashion. Now, if you can notice with my right hand, I'm using my index finger to turn the spool clockwise. I'm using my opposite hand to hold the shaft of the tip up and guide the eye so that I can keep the line nice and tight going on the tip up, and I can also move that line back and forth so it's nice and even, just like you would have your line on a spinning rod or a bait caster for open water fishing. Alright, so I'm going to put on about 40 yards of 40-pound Power Pro. Alright. So I've got as much line as I'd like, so I'm going to take the end of it, clip it off with a side cutter, so now we're going to attach our barrel swivel to the end of the braided line. Again, I'm just going to do 4 overhand knots. Not a real common thing to do, but when it comes to heavy braided line, you can do 4 overhand knots onto a swivel. Makes it nice and secure. Pull it tight. And clip the tag end with a side cutter. I'm using a side cutter. You can use a really good pair of scissors. Otherwise, cutting that heavy braided line can be really challenging with the clippers. Alright. So now that the braided line is tied to the barrel swivel, we're going to take our Vizex fluorocarbon. I like to take about 5 to 6 feet of fluorocarbon, no more, no less, for my leader length. Clip it with the side cutters. And we're going to tie that end to the barrel swivel. So if you see here, we have the braided line attached to one end of the barrel swivel, and we now have Vizex tied to the other end. I'm just using a standard fisherman's knot here. You can use any knot you're confident in. tip-up fishing and pulling fishing on tip-ups, you're not applying as much force and pressure as you would with a fishing pole. So as long as you're using a high-quality knot that you really believe in, your knot should be fine on a tip-up. All right, so I'm using my fingers to push this knot together and decrease the size of the tag end. The reason I'm using my fingers versus just pulling on it, because with a fisherman's knot, if you just yank on it, it creates a lot of friction and it can actually weaken the knot. Okay, so I got it nice and tight now. So again, that leader line's about 5 to 6 feet long. And on the end of that leader line, I'm going to tie a number 10 VMC hook. I like using number 10 hooks versus a bigger hook or a smaller hook because it's a hook that's small enough that the fish don't see it attached to the bait. It's also big enough that you hook the fish in the mouth. And if they swallow the hook, it goes down nice and easy. Usually doesn't cause too many problems in the digestive tract of the fish. And when you're tip-up fishing, believe it or not, more times than not, the fish will just swallow the bait. So you don't want to have a big, massive treble hook getting caught in the throat. All right, so we got a Polymark knot tied on that hook. Now we're going to take an 1/8 ounce split shot and attach it 6 to 8 inches above the hook. Now I use a split shot for 2 reasons. One, it keeps the fish, the bait in the strike zone. Okay, so it keeps your line vertical down from the tip up. It also, if you get caught in rocks when you have a fish on, or get caught in anything that might hang you up while battling a fish, that split shot will often just pop right off the line. Alright, so that's it. Now in this tutorial, we're utilizing a beaver dam tip up. And so what I do is I like to reel it all the way up to the base of the eye of the spool. Then I take the flag and hook that up. I take the tag end of the line. This tip up actually has a little plastic eye hooked to the shaft of the flag. I pull that plastic piece down to the base of the flag, and now it's all set up and ready to go. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe to my channel.